Hello and welcome to All Classical Music Explained. Yes, welcome to the programme that finally reveals why organ music is so boring, how to play musical instruments without practising, and how to clap in the wrong places at concerts and look like you did it on purpose. Indeed, welcome. My name is Rainer Hersch and I am your host, and every week on All Classical Music Explained I'll be looking at a different theme from the world of classical music. But before we get into any of that, I am concerned that there are people out there who think they don't know enough about classical music to enjoy this show. If that's the case, we'll be starting each week with a short quiz. Now, I'd like to point out this is not a shouting out quiz, but more of an answering to yourself and feeling superior type quiz. So if you're ready, here we go. If you recognise this music, but couldn't say exactly where it's from, on the other hand, you're pretty sure you recognise this, but think it was probably written by British Airways, then you already know too much, and yes, you may well be listening to the wrong show. On the other hand, if you recognise this as being by Shostakovich, then you're just a clever clogs. Please send us your name and address and we'll send you Melvin Bragg. Finally, if you didn't recognise any of those, but you're certain you recognise this music, you're a Neighbours addict, you are listening to the right show, but I might be speaking a bit too quickly for you. Now, as I said, week by week, All Classical Music Explained will be taking a theme to explain how to enjoy the world's most beautiful tunes. So in a very short time, we will all be in possession of a veritable magpie's hoard of facts with which we can impress our friends and show off at parties. This week, the spotlight is on the most dramatic, the most convoluted, and surely the poshest form of all classical music... opera. And to help us through that maze of love and revenge we only take seriously because we can't understand the words, please welcome this week's guest, Marilyn Hill-Smith. Now, Marilyn, you are a real opera singer. Yeah, but can you prove it? Now, it didn't just start, did it, singing operas?
Oh, no, certainly not.
No one said, let's have an opera. It still took many centuries for people to get used to the idea of sitting uncomfortably for hours, listening to unbelievable stories from men dressed as women. That, of course, started in the church.
Agnus Dei Christe eleison.
Now, the first church singers were a tribe of people who lived in Spain or somewhere called the Gregorians. And these were the first people in musical history to go, ah, and think of writing that down. And what a loss to the world it would have been if they hadn't. Then, in 1685, came into the world a man-child who was to take opera out of the church and send it on its way to a world of huge cast of thousands spectaculars in vast arenas where no one can see or hear anything. His name, George Frederick Handel. Now, like me, Handel was half German, half English, which meant that he'd like to take over the world but was too polite. As a composer, Handel soon developed a big spesh that was to become the bread and butter entertainment in the taverns of old London town. Oratorios, a word he developed himself from the Latin ora, meaning to speak, and torios, meaning members of the Conservative Party. And although he wrote loads of them, his best-known oratorio was, and is to this day, the cornerstone of fundraising amateur choirs everywhere.
Oh, the Messiah.
The Messiah. The sung story of Jesus. He dies in the end. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it. But there's a twist. Now, the main feature of the Messiah is that it takes 3.5 hours to sing. So, of course, in 3.5 hours, you'd expect, quite a lot of detail. But, this is a big connection with opera, in Handel's hands, some of the words took quite a long time to sing. This, for example, is the word rejoice.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?